Sarah had always been drawn to the quiet. After the stress of finals and the endless noise of college life, a remote cabin nestled in the Alaskan wilderness seemed like the perfect escape. It was a solo trip, a chance to disconnect and find peace before the chaos of her final year. The cabin was small, quaint, and perched on the edge of a vast, dense forest. No cell service, no internet. Just nature and solitude. It was perfect. The first few days were bliss. Sarah spent her time hiking, reading by the fire, and letting the cool Alaskan air fill her lungs. But by the third night, the silence began to feel unnatural. It started subtly, branches snapping in the distance, almost like footsteps. At first, she dismissed it as wildlife, bears perhaps, or deer moving through the woods. She knew she was far from civilization, but the vastness of the wilderness made her feel exposed. The cabin, once cozy, now felt isolated, vulnerable. On the fourth night, as she sat by the fire, the sound grew louder, closer. The snapping of twigs was unmistakable now. Someone, or something, was out there, moving just beyond the tree line. Sarah's heart raced. She peered out the window, but all she saw was darkness and the faint outline of the towering pines. Grabbing a flashlight, she stepped outside, her breath visible in the chilly night air. She swept the beam across the trees, her pulse quickening with each passing second. Nothing, just the vast, empty wilderness. But the feeling of being watched wouldn't leave her. She retreated back inside, locking the door behind her. As she lay in bed that night, sleep eluded her. The cabin creaked with the wind, and every sound seemed amplified in the stillness. Then in the dead of night, she heard it again. Footsteps. This time they were slow and deliberate, circling the cabin. Sarah sat up, her heart pounding in her ears. She held her breath, listening. The footsteps stopped at the front door. Then came the knock. It was faint, almost polite, but in the silence of the night it echoed like a gunshot. Sarah's skin prickled with fear. She wanted to believe it was just her imagination, but there it was again. Knock, knock, knock. Grabbing her phone, she cursed the lack of signal. She couldn't call for help. She was completely alone. Taking a deep breath, she moved toward the door, her hands trembling. The knock came again, this time louder, more urgent. "Hello!" she called, her voice shaky. There was no response. With shaking hands, she slid open the peephole cover and peered out. Nothing but darkness. But then, just as she was about to turn away, something moved. A shadow, large and formless, lurking just beyond the porch light's reach. Her blood ran cold. Backing away, Sarah grabbed the largest kitchen knife she could find and retreated to the bedroom, barricading the door with a chair. She crouched in the corner, clutching the knife, her breath coming in shallow gasps. Hours passed, and the knock stopped, but she didn't dare move. Morning finally came, bathing the cabin in a soft, cold light. Exhausted and shaken, Sarah cautiously opened the door. The front porch was empty, but there in the dirt just beyond the steps were footprints. Large, deep prints that circled the cabin multiple times. The sense of unease grew stronger. She couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was watching her from the trees. Gathering her things, she decided to cut the trip short. She couldn't stay here, not after what had happened. As she packed up and prepared to leave, she noticed something she hadn't seen before. A small, old, leather-bound book on the coffee table. She didn't remember bringing it, and it certainly hadn't been there when she arrived. Curiosity got the better of her, and she opened it. The pages were yellowed with age, filled with strange symbols and handwritten notes. One line stood out, scrawled in messy handwriting. "The Watcher never leaves. He waits in the pines." A chill ran down her spine. Sarah slammed the book shut and tossed it into the fireplace, watching as the flames devoured it. She left the cabin that day, vowing never to return. But as she drove away, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was still watching her from the trees, lurking just beyond the edge of her vision. And in the rearview mirror, for the briefest of moments, she saw it. A tall, dark figure standing among the pines, watching, waiting. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more chilling tales. The end, or is it? This story leaves a lingering sense of dread and mystery, encouraging return readers to explore what really happened in the cabin. The tension is palpable, with pacing that keeps readers on edge, ensuring they'll come back for more thrills. Make it exciting and make it feasible. Make it thrilling and make it engaging. Also, make it have optimized content for return viewers.